So, quick question. If I asked you right now to explain what MCP actually is, could you do it? Because here's the wild part. MCP or Model Context Protocol went from about having 100,000 downloads a month to 97 million in a month just in about 18 months span. It's become the standard way on how AI connects to everything. Your files, your database, your tools, and most people using it every single day still cannot explain it. So that's what we're fixing today. I'm going to break down what MCP actually is, how it works under the hood, and where it sits inside an AI agent. I'll clear up the comparison that everybody is getting wrong. MCP versus function calling versus APIs versus plugin. And by the end, you'll know where to find MCP servers, how to plug in one safely, and how to build your own in about 15 minutes. If you're building anything with AI in 2026, this is a baseline knowledge now. And yes, words like JSON, RPC, and stdio sounds intimidating. They are not, I promise, so stick with me and all of this will get cleared up. Quick intro if you're new to my channel. I'm Aishwarya Srinivasan. I've been in the AI industry for over 10 years and I've been building AI systems in practice that whole time, all the way from traditional machine learning models to agentic AI systems. So everything that I share here comes from my own personal experience and what I have learned over these years. This is a practitioner's perspective, not theory. Okay, let's start with the problem, because MCP only makes sense once you feel the pain that it actually solves. Imagine you're building an AI application. Your model needs to talk to your database, your CRM, your file system, and maybe even Slack. Every one of those connections is a custom integration. You write it, you test it, you maintain it. Now just scale that up. 10 AI application and 100 tools. That's potentially 1,000 different integrations. It's like the drawer of chargers we all had before USB-C. One cable per device. None of them were interchangeable. It sounds familiar, right? Now, MCP is the USB-C for AI. It is an open standard which is originally released by Anthropic in November 2024 that gives you one common language for connecting AI models to external tools and data. You build a connector once and any MCP compatible AI application can use it. Whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, Cursor, you own your custom agent and the same connector and you don't have to do any rewrites. And look, this isn't a one company thing anymore. In December 2025, Anthropic donated MCP to the Linux Foundation. It's now a vendor-neutral, community-governed standard. That's why those download numbers exploded. The industry basically agreed on the plug shape. So that's the what. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There are actually 3 pieces to how it works. Once you have them, every MCP diagram that you've squinted at will suddenly make sense. So the 3 pieces are the host, the client, and the server. Let me just keep the USB-C analogy going because it just maps very perfectly. So the host is the AI application itself. So Claude Desktop, Cursor, VS Code, ChatGPT, and all of that. Think of the host as your phone. The MCP client lives inside the host. It's the USB-C port on that phone. It speaks the protocol, it manages the connection, and you really never need to see it. And the MCP server, that's the accessory that you plug in. A small program that wraps some tool or data sources or your database or your calendar, GitHub, and exposes it in the standard MCP format. And don't let the word server intimidate you. An MCP server can literally be 100 lines of Python code running on your laptop. Okay, so what does a server actually give you? It gives you 3 things: tools, resources, and prompts. So think of onboarding a new employee, okay? You give them software access so that they can actually take actions. That is tools. You give them the company's Wikipedia page so that they can actually read what they need. That is the resources. And you give them your standard operating procedures for common workflows. Those are the prompts. Tools are what the model can do, resources is what it can read, and prompts are reusable templates for doing tasks well. And here's the genuinely elegant part. When the client connects, it just asks, "What do you have?" The server advertises its tools, resources, and prompts with descriptions and typed inputs. Everything is discovered at runtime, nothing is hard-coded. That discovery step is what makes MCP feel like magic compared to wiring integrations by hand. So now you know the parts. The natural next question is, where does it sit inside an actual AI agent? Because MCP alone is not an agent. And this is the part that most explainers completely skip. When people say AI agent, what's really running is a harness, a loop around the model does the reasoning, the harness handles everything else. It manages memory, tracks the state, decides when to go again with the loop, and critically, it executes action in real world. So think of the agent as the smart new employee. The model is the brain, the harness is their workstation and the workflow. And MCP is their company badge, which is their standardized access layer that gets them into every system that they are allowed to touch. So here is the loop. The model decides it needs something external, say pulling rows from a database. The harness routes the intent through an MCP client to the right server. The server does the actual work, and the result flows back into the model's context so it can actually keep reasoning. So this is what's happening, right? Model decides, harness executes, and MCP connects. That's the whole dance. And that's why MCP took off with agents. An agent is only as useful as the system that it can touch. And MCP made touching systems standardized instead of bespoke. Now, if you have made it this far, you're already taking this more seriously than most people. Let's start with function calling because this is the number one confusion. Function calling is a capability of the model. It's the model looking at a task, deciding a tool is needed, and producing a structured request with the right arguments. MCP is the protocol that carries that request to the tool and brings the result back. They are not competitors, they are actually complementary layers. Now here is the framing that I promise will make it stick. Function calling answers things like, should I make a call and what should I say? MCP answers things like, how does that call actually reach to the other end? Function calling is like you deciding to actually call somebody and dialing. MCP is the telephone network that lets any phone reach to any other phone. So you need both. When you build with MCP, you are not replacing function calling. You're giving it somewhere standardized to land. Now what about plain APIs? Simple. Your APIs don't go anywhere. An API is a point-to-point connection to one service. MCP is a standard layer on top of your APIs that let an AI model discover and call them in a consistent way. The API still does the work. MCP just gives every model the same way to find it and talk to it. So if somebody tells you MCP replaces your APIs, they've just completely misunderstood the stack. Now this brings me to the plugins and a little history that explains why MCP won. Back in 2023, ChatGPT plugins were the hot thing and they had exactly the problem that you would expect. A plugin was proprietary. You built it for one platform and if you wanted the same capability somewhere else, you have to build it again. Plugins were the old proprietary charger, one cable per brand. Now MCP flipped that model. Instead of every AI platform running its own plugin store, there's one open protocol and every platform implements the same port. Build your server once and it works on Claude, on ChatGPT, on Cursor, on VS Code and whatever agent framework that you're running. That's why the plugin era quietly ended and why even the platform that built plugin stores moved to MCP. Again, I'm not saying all plugins are invalid right now. There are still tools that use plugins, but MCP has become the more standard way of doing it. Okay, concepts are done, comparison is done. Now let's get practical because this is where you actually start doing things. Where do you find these servers? See, there are thousands of MCP servers out there right now. Over 10,000 public ones at last count. So discovery is genuinely the easy part. 3 places that I would point you to. First, the official MCP registry. This is the canonical dictionary and it's where the verified publishers increasingly list their servers. Second is the Model Context Protocol servers repository on GitHub. It has a reference servers like file systems, fetch, memory, and it's one of the most starred repositories in the whole space. And third, community directories like Pulse MCP. Those are great for browsing by category, whether you want a Notion server, a Postgres server, or a GitHub server. So rule of thumb, before you ever build your MCP server, search first. The integration that you need probably already exists. Now, how do you actually use one? There's one fork in the road that you need to understand first. MCP servers come in 2 flavors, local and remote. A local server runs on your machine and talks to the client over something called as STDIO. That's just a standard input-output between the processes. It's what you want for local files and experimentations. A remote server is hosted somewhere else. You actually connect with it over HTTP and you typically authenticate using OAuth the same way that you sign in into any app with your Google account. Remote is how most companies expose their products. And actually using one is anticlimactic. In Claude Desktop, Cursor or VS Code, all you need to do is add a small config entry. Either the command to launch a local server or the URL to the remote one. Restart and the client handles the handshake and discovers the tool automatically. Then you just talk to your AI normally and it just uses the tool when it needs them. So my recommendation is this. Start local with something which is low stakes like a file system server and watch how the model calls these tools. Build your intuition there. But before you go connect 20 servers to everything you own, just stop. Because this part is the one that I need you to take seriously. It is the part that almost no MCP tutorial talks about. This is the uncomfortable truth. An MCP server is a code that gets direct line into your AI's context and often into your real accounts and data. So installing a random MCP server is like plugging a USB-C stick that you found in a parking lot inside your laptop. Yep, it could be that scary. And I have numbers to back it up. An independent consensus found that only 13% of publicly available MCP servers meet high trust thresholds for documentation, maintenance, and reliability. Early 2026 gave us real incidents too. Dozens of CVEs, tool poisoning attacks where malicious instructions were hidden inside tool descriptions. A hosted platform with the path traversal that actually exposed thousands of applications. And this is, I'm telling you, not theoretical. This actually happened. So here is my practitioner's checklist. 1. Prefer official servers from verified publishers or read the code before you run it. It's usually small enough that you actually can. 2. Least privilege always. If a server only needs to read the data, give it read-only credentials. And 3. Keep a human in the loop for everything that's sensitive or irreversible. Things like writes, deletes, or sending messages. And if you're doing this at a team scale, the production pattern is very simple. Put your MCP server behind a central gateway or an internal registry so that you can actually control exactly which servers your agents can reach. Default everything to scoped, read-only credentials. And gate the sensitive operations behind human approval. That setup handles thousands of tool calls a day without ever handling over your agent the keys to everything. Security and scale are not opposites. The guardrails are what let you scale. So, alright, you know what MCP is, how it works, and how to use it safely. Time for the fun part. Let's build one. Your first working MCP server is genuinely a 15-minute project, and Python is going to be the shortest path. The official Python SDK includes fast MCP, and honestly, the developer experience is beautiful. You write a normal Python function with type hints and a docstring. You put a decorator on it, and the SDK turns it into a fully described MCP tool automatically. For the TypeScript folks, the official SDK there is just as solid. Then you test it with the MCP instructor, a local web interface where you can actually trigger your tools manually before any model touches it. Once it looks good, add it to your Claude Desktop or Cursor configuration file and watch your AI call your code. Here's the project that I would love to see you build this week. Pick one API or a data source that you use every day. Maybe it's a Notion, a weather API, or a read-only view for your own database. Wrap it in one well-tested tool over stdio. Validate it in Inspector, connect it to your client, only graduate it to HTTP and OAuth when more than one person needs it. Most people overbuild their first server, so don't do that. Now, if you walk away from this video remembering one thing, let it be this. MCP is not the intelligence part, it is the plumbing part. But right now, the teams who are winning with AI are the ones whose plumbing lets their model actually touch the real world data. Okay, so that pretty much wraps everything. Now, all the tools, repositories, and some resources is something that I've added in the description below, so definitely check it out. And if this video got you excited about building agentic AI systems properly end-to-end, my co-founder Arvind and I run Mastering Agentic AI certification. It is a 6-week live program. Every single session is taught live by the two of us. Nothing is pre-recorded, and we also hold office hours throughout the time. We've partnered with companies like NVIDIA, OpenAI, LangChain, Pinecone, Fireworks AI, 11 Labs, MemZero, and more. It's really advanced program that takes you from the fundamental building blocks of generative AI all the way to building reliable LLM systems. For the projects, we do have two different tracks. You can either use the low-code, no-code tools, or you can go the code-heavy way. But every single week, you are going to be building projects. And if you found this useful, subscribe and hit the bell icon. I regularly post about AI and ML career tips, free resources, educational explainers like this one, and my journey as an immigrant building a career in the US as an AI leader. And if you have any questions, do drop that in the comments below. I'm also going to be attaching a guide, so definitely check that out as well.